Hi everybody. So in just over a week, we'll be meeting in Reykjavik to start our Iceland Summer Photo Tour. And in this video, I'm going to give you some tips, tricks, packing suggestions to make your prep and the whole experience a little bit easier. So to kick us off, let's look at the itinerary. So the trip officially starts at dinner on the 13th of June. Some of you are arriving on the 12th, some of you are arriving on the 13th, but everybody will be on site by dinner time, and that's where we officially start the trip. Michael, myself, all of you guys, and Chris, our local guide, will brief and everything from there, but that is the start. The trip then runs all the way through to dinner on the 21st of June. We finish after dinner, and that's kind of the goodbyes with Chris. The next morning, most of you are flying out on the 22nd. So I have all of your flight details on hand, so I'll make sure that we can assist with transfers and that, but that's how it starts. 13th, dinner, that's the official start. 21st, dinner, the official end. 22nd, most of you guys are flying home. Now, the in-between bits, the in-between those two dates, I'll talk about in a second. But first of all, let's talk transfers. Okay, so on your arrival in Reykjavik, the easiest way to get from the airport to your hotel is with the fly bus. Now, what I'll do is I will send a link to the booking page where you can book your bus in advance, or you can do it on arrival. It's about $28 for the bus, which takes you from the airport to the hotel. Now, how they work is the bus doesn't run on a scheduled time as such. It's linked to every incoming flight. So there's always a bus that takes you to city center with the hotels. Depending on the day and depending on the logistics, sometimes the bus will drop you from the airport directly at your hotel. Other times it'll go to the bus terminal where you might hop in a smaller bus or a minivan, and that would take you to the hotel. That they decide on the day, but all included in your price. On the last day, when you finish, for most of you on the 22nd, you can book the fly bus through the hotel where you're staying. You can do it online, and it just works in reverse. They take you from the hotel, maybe to the terminal first. It's a very easy process, and then to the airport or directly to the airport. You can also, on the fly bus link, which I will share with you guys, you can also book a vehicle, like a private transfer vehicle. Very simple process, and yeah, I've never had an issue with it before. So I would recommend you guys check out the link, book your transfer ahead of time so you've got that security. And they will also, if your flight is delayed, because they know on which flight you are once you've booked, they will wait for you, so they don't leave you. So Flybus, I will share the link, and we can go from there. Right, next up. So, the logistics of the trip. Now, once we kick off after dinner, right, the next morning we will start off on our road trip around the southern coast of Iceland. The one thing to keep in mind here, and this is with anything, Svalbard, Iceland, Alaska, Greenland, all of those places, this is expedition based. This is a little bit more structured in that we know we are staying over at Harley or at Vic on whatever evenings. But day by day, we need to be flexible. We might think, ooh, sunrise is going to be amazing. Sunrise is about 1:30 in the morning. But we can decide, let's go do that. We'll delay our departure in the morning. So what I will do, Mike and Chris, we will update you in real time every day as to changes that might come up. The accommodation, obviously, for us is booked all the way. So if you look at a map of Iceland, we start in the bottom right-hand corner. We hug the coast all the way around, and then we cut up to the highland and then make a circle back to Reykjavik. The accommodation is booked, but from an activities point of view, we will keep you updated. Easy as that. Now, the bus itself, it's a big Mercedes Sprinter, loads of space. And once we get settled in, everybody will kind of have their space. It's a 2x1 configuration. So once you've settled in, you have space to leave your camera gear. Like if you want to put your bag there and only grab a certain camera when we get out to photograph, that's cool. There's also overhead compartments, which works really well for tripods and smaller bags and such. But once we get settled in, that's it. It's a super easy process then. You don't have to keep on unloading and loading. You can grab what you want and off we go. There has been a few questions, can Mike and myself help with gear? Absolutely. There's never a point on this tour where you're really going to carry your whole camera bag. But we will always be on hand to help you offload, load onto the bus, and so on and so forth. If there's ever a bigger hike that we'll do, we'll brief you in advance. You'll know exactly where we're going, what to look for, and what gear to take. Now, the focus for this tour is Iceland in summer. That means amazing skies, interesting sunsets and sunrises, which there's very little of it, but it makes for very soft light, waterfalls, beaches, diamond beaches, and so on and so forth. We will, as we go on, as we progress, again, this is where the expedition mindset of flexibility comes in. We will advise, okay, this is where we're going to go. We're going to spend 2 hours here. If we need more time and accommodation options allow, we can spend more time. But again, we will liaise this to you in real time. I'll talk about camera equipment at the end of this video. But for now, I would suggest, if you haven't yet, go and Google Iceland in summer waterfalls. Get some ideas. Get some composition ideas and so on and so forth. The wildlife element of this trip, there are horses around. Icelandic horses, beautiful things. They are super relaxed. So if we find them, even on the side of the road when we're driving, we can stop, pull over, and try and get some images of them. There's 1 or 2 scenes, landscapes, which if there are horses, it's absolutely golden, but that's luck of the draw, like anything in safari. Icelandic sheep, sounds weird, but they actually are quite photographic as well. And those as well. If we see them on the side, we can stop and go from there. The puffins. Now, puffins in Iceland in summer is a thing. There's different areas where they breed, right? Sometimes on the north coast, otherwise down in the south, close to Vik, they do breed there as well. If we do find them, and this is the same, if we go to Mala Mala, we should see a leopard, but we might not. This is nature. So the puffins area where we more than likely will find them, more than likely. They've got a walkway up on the hill with these grassy rolling plains on the side, little grassy hills. The puffins nest in there. Now, you are almost guaranteed to see a puffin, but sometimes it's this big, bullet through the sky. If we are lucky enough for them to land close by, because they don't allow you to walk off the pathway area, it's got a little rope around it. Because it's breeding, you might step on a nest. They could land right next to us, right? But it's not something that I would ever guarantee or bargain on. We hope for the best, and we can shoot what we see. One of the fun exercises we did one year is we tried to photograph them, listen to this, with a 24-70 as they came into land. Interesting exercise, and we got some pretty decent stuff. So again, I'll talk more about photography gear at the end, but with mostly the focus being on landscape, you're probably looking at the shorter lenses, but we'll talk about that when we get to photography gear. All right. Okay, packing list. Now, most of you, all of you would have received an email from us that looks like this. This is a run through of the itinerary, the packing list, and so on and so forth. I've put together another packing list, which I'm going to start sharing on WhatsApp with you guys. It breaks it down into different sections. So, for example, layers. This is golden from a packing point of view. Waterproof jacket and waterproof pants. I looked ahead at the weather. We might get some rain. It's a very good chance. So you need some kind of waterproof jacket. And also you get the very tiny, well, you can roll them up to a small ball, the waterproof pants, just in case. If you have expedition pants or anything like that that is splash proof, that should work. A puffy or a down jacket, something just on your body to keep you warm, right? Insulated layers, a fleece, something like this. A fleece which you can keep on your body. You would then layer your puffy jacket over that, and if necessary, your rain jacket over that. Base layers goes without saying. Something simple like a black base layer that sits tight on the body. And then if you need like long johns or base layers for your legs as well. I often only use denim to walk around in, but I have expeditions pants as well. The biggest thing is just be aware of the moisture of the rain side of it. Last year's trip, I think we only had 2 days of a little bit of rain, but prep for it, rather be prepared. Other clothing, a winter hat, obviously beanies, gloves, backup gloves, smart socks, woolen socks, they say smart wool socks, a scarf or a buff, and then waterproof boots. Now, I've had quite a few questions about the boots as well. Yes, you need your own hiking boot, which is water resistant. Okay, if you're comfortable with some of your other sneakers or something getting wet, that's fine. But I normally take hiking boots, which is every day's wear. The boots that we've asked you for your sizes is basically Wellingtons. It comes up to the knee. There are a couple of the shooting locations. Vic's Beach is one of them. It's a black beach with these monoliths, these big pillars, spires coming out of the ocean. Wonderful photography, but you might have to get quite close to where the water on the beach comes in. Those boots do help you to go through that. There might be 1 or 2 other places as well, going to a waterfall where you're walking through like wet and moist tundra, which is deeper than ankle height, that you might use those boots for. Now, those boots are always on the vehicle in the back. You can decide at the spot where we get out, do you want them? Chris, myself, and Mike will again guide you accordingly. We'll go check it out, and then we can go from there. So the boots is for the Wellingtons that we have on site for you in the bus, but still, own comfortable, waterproof, splash-proof hiking boots, definitely a must. Okay, some accessories that you might want to look at packing. A reusable water bottle. So I normally travel with this, right? It's a 1 liter hydro flask, keeps warm and cold. I normally fill that up in the morning and keep it with me on the bus, just for water. We do stop every once in a while to the destinations at little stores on the side or a petrol station, and you can fill up on snacks and water and stuff. But I always make sure just to have a water bottle with me. For those of you that want to have coffee all the time, I might do this. A reusable coffee mug could be cool, like just a little thermos. Sunglasses, definitely. A backpack. Now, the backpack normally gets put in because of people going on long hikes. I take a small backpack that I can if we do a bigger hike. Not likely that I can stick things in. But if your camera bag is suitable and you're happy for that, 100%. A sleeping mask. This is an interesting one. So it's like the mask you get on airplanes. Remember, we're going to midnight sun. The sun sets, I think, between 11:30 and 12 and comes up again at like 1:30, so it's never really dark. So for the evenings, pack one of those travel masks just in case. Most of the places we stay at, I'm just trying to think, all of them have pretty good blinds and stuff, but there's still light that comes through. So the summer mask does help. Electronics, cell phone charger, camera charger, European travel adapter. We're not shooting Northern Lights, so we don't have to worry about that. And then hand warmers and lip balm. It's funny, even in the cold weather and you're in the sun, lips do take a beating, so make sure you pack lip balm as well. So I'll be sending you this as well on WhatsApp, but that combined with the one that Candice has already sent should get you all the way. But if you have questions, let me know and I'll be glad to help. Let's look at camera gear. Okay, so camera gear. With this focus for this trip being on landscapes, you need a tripod. Let's start there. A sturdy tripod that you can put down. If there is wind, which sometimes in Iceland can happen, more so in winter, but in summer you do get it, if you can hang something from the bottom to anchor it down, that's great. I would, just from previous experience with some clients, make sure the tripod is working, it's oiled, all the pieces are there. Make sure you have the shoe that fits onto the camera in there as well. I've had many people arrive and they forgot it at home. That's important. From a camera point of view, I would recommend 2 camera bodies, whether you're shooting DSLR or mirrorless. 2, you're going to have your main weapon as such, onto which I would normally fit my wider angle, whatever I'm shooting. That could be a 16-35, a 14-24. I personally shoot with a 16-50 f4, beautiful landscape lens. You can also go up to a 24-70. Depending on the shooting location. So your main weapon. Secondary camera body would, for example, for me, have a 70-200. With that, you can do sniper detail shots of the waterfalls, getting close on one rock protruding with water coming over it. You can do action shots of the water, but we'll get to that in detail. For the puffins and for the wildlife, if you have a lens, for example, 70-200, which you want to add a converter onto, that's probably first prize. I know Sony has, is it a 150-600, which if you're happy to carry that, that's great. You will be able to use that 600 on some detail shots as well, especially at Vic, where you're shooting into the ocean and the rocks on the distance. So it can work. I wouldn't, for this particular trip, I wouldn't look at any primes like the 4, 5, 600s. It's a lot to carry for something that is not guaranteed, or I want to say likely, but it isn't likely. So it's not guaranteed. So I would do a lens that you could reach. My biggest lens that I'm taking is a 300 2.8. It's Olympus, so it's nice and small, plus a converter. So my maximum reach for this trip is going to be about 420, if that helps. Other things, filters. I know most of you have got filters, which you screw on the front and you drop the sliders in. That's great. If you haven't yet, please play with it at home. Just open it up, put it in and out, let it dry. And then, most importantly now, when we shoot waterfalls and there's any kind of spray, the filters get drops on them. I've had people who had incredible images, but there's water droplets everywhere in the frame, like dust spots, but water spots, right? Make sure that you have a microfiber cloth with which you can wipe your lens and the filters. Zeiss makes very nice little packets. It's a moist cloth that you can use to wash off. I would recommend doing it before every time we get out the vehicle, because those dots do add up. In the evenings, make sure that you clean all the filters and stuff as well. You don't want to get that hero shot and then there's dots everywhere. It takes a lot of cleaning up, More than that, photography-wise, make sure that your laptop has Lightroom and Photoshop installed and updated as well. Make sure it's the latest stuff. If you are using Nik or Topaz, again, make sure you've got the latest versions. We will have time, mostly in the evenings, to go through some images, do some Lightroom and Photoshop and such, but make sure that you've got the latest version. I have never personally used a rain jacket, one of those, I know Lower Pro makes the rain jacket that sits over the camera. I've never used that. Personally, cameras are waterproof, so I'm not too worried about it, but be aware of the front of your lens and the filters. So any cleaning material that you need, a spray, a microfiber cloth, very, very important. Okay, next up. So what I would like to do is I'm going to create a WhatsApp group for this tour. Myself, Michael, Candace from the Wild Eye office, and then all of you guys. It's very handy in these last week or so heading up to the trip to ask questions on there and for us to drop the information on there. For example, I'm going to share that packing list with you guys on there, the link to the fly bus and so on and so forth. It's also very handy if there are any changes on the trip and we're in a hotel at different rooms. Hey, what time is dinner? Hey, we're going to leave at 7, not at 6. I'll pop it on that WhatsApp group as well. I've been doing the WhatsApp groups for all the tours I've been hosting for the last while, and it's really handy as well after the trip. My Svalbard trip I just finished now, the people are sharing images. I might find an image of you in Iceland, and I'll put that on there, for example. It's a great way to share and just kind of build the experience up. So once you see this video, please just send me a WhatsApp and say to me, yes, please add me to the group. I'll add you in there and we can go from there. Guys, I think that's about it for now. That should help you with the basic packing, kind of expectation and so on. Once again, I think the most important thing with this is the expedition mindset. It's going to a place where you can almost, and you'll see what I mean when we drive, you can almost stop at any given time, get off the vehicle and get amazing shots. That's what this place is. It is beautiful. And I have stopped the car sometimes and said, whoa, this road going through the kind of lava volcanic rocks looks great, let's shoot that. So flexibility is key. The only last thing I can think of is when we're on the bus, there are times when we drive for an hour, 2 hours, there's chat, this, that. Bring earphones or a book, Kindle, whatever the case is. In between shooting locations, we might drive. I think the longest drive we ever do at one stage might be like 2.5, 3 hours. That's max when we go up to the highlands. Otherwise, it's drive and stop in between, and it's very likely that earphones and a Kindle or something will come in handy. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some information for your final prep for Iceland. You know where to get hold of me. Please let me know if I can help with anything else leading up. And I can't wait to see you all in Iceland just over a week from now. My name is Gerry. I'm from Wild Eye. See you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.